Ooh, I got a treat for you guys, man. This weekend was intense. There was so much little stories, some big stories. It was one of the most impactful weeks I've seen in a long time. From Japan getting Xbox Series raised in price, from developers that's exclusive on PlayStation right now, kind of hinting that there's no need for an Xbox, as well as Game Informer just shutting down cold turkey. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here coming at you another video today when we're talking about a variety of topics in the industry. A lot of stuff went on during the weekend, man. First thing I want to really go over is the actual incident right now going on with the Black Myth and the Phantom Blade Zero. Now, these are developers. I don't know if they're the same developer, but they are developers of two pretty decent sized games that's going to be on PlayStation right now. Black Myth Wutong was one of them. And, this game was originally announced to come out. Now, I don't know if it officially has a release date of any sort, but as you can see, this is essentially a PlayStation exclusive right now. I don't know if it's intentional. Part of me doesn't think so. But anyway, let's get down to that. First off, let's read originally what was said. What was pretty much said was when they were doing the translation between this developer and the outlet, it was actually said that there's no demand for Xbox. And that's just essentially saying, look, we put money into a port. We want that money back on top of we want profit from the ecosystem. I don't know if they necessarily, care about the overall profit, but that takes money to port. It takes time, takes resources. It's not cheap. So essentially, when they were doing the translations, originally they said that the individuals, when they interviewed them, said nobody needs a platform. Nobody needs this platform. Now, that's not what was actually said. It was just a mistranslation. I'm very curious at who wrote this, if they took what was actually said, which is a platform, Xbox is a platform that does not find the demand, and that's essentially just saying that they don't think that their game would sell terrific over there on Xbox. So I'm kind of curious if the person who wrote this kind of like built their own conclusion off what they said. Now, clearly they said that. I'm just curious if they knew what they were saying, but they chose to translate it this way anyway. Now, let's talk about this in general. I've said it over and over again. Hardware not being the focus of the platform, it's not good. When you're not selling the hardware, when the industry doesn't even really respect your brand because you're not front and center everywhere, what did you expect was going to happen? Black Myth and Phantom Blade Zero. Now, I will say Phantom Blade Zero particularly isn't a game that I'm 100%, excited for. Now, I do want to play, Black Myth, but when it comes down to it, it's just the demand. Are they wrong for saying that? No. There's been a few developers that come out there and said something like that. Do I think that they would make profit on the Xbox versions? Yes. I do believe that this is just one of those, we don't really like the brand. We don't like the platform. And we also don't think we would sell over there. It's not worth the headache that the actual game would give them if they went above and beyond and produce this port. That's why I always say that when it comes to Xbox, they need to do a better job at making sure these games end up on their platform. Now, if it's not a full-blown exclusive that PlayStation has bought, their marketing, Microsoft needs to go above and beyond reaching out to these studios and saying, look, if it is the port that's an issue, we'll pay for the port up front or we'll help you develop it. Now, I understand that that's a slippery slope. You're going to kind of give the status quo to these developers that says, we don't have to pay for, these ports on this platform. But to me, we're missing a lot of these games in general. And unless that's fixed to some degree, which I think once Call of Duty comes out for the platform on Game Pass, I do think you're going to see a dramatic increase in the amount of Xboxes sold. Is it going to be like what Xbox might internally think? I don't know. We've seen time and time again some of these studios and some of these publishers and some of these console manufacturers, they have like an unrealistic expectation on what's actually going to happen. So I'm very curious on that. It's just like, to me, when it comes to stuff like this, especially high profile games such as Black Myth and maybe even Phantom Blade to a point, if these games are truly not on the platform because the developers don't see them worthy of, the demand isn't there, then Microsoft needs to go above and beyond to make sure these games come on the system. And once again, maybe it's one of those scenarios where these developers know we'll probably make more of a bidding pass if we fight them for Game Pass coming out afterwards than before, because the money drastically changes when you get something on Game Pass. And I do feel like, to an extent, maybe you guys can comment below, some of these developers wait for that Game Pass bag because they know that's guaranteed money. They don't know what they would initially sell if they just dropped it on the store. And the amount of money that they would want is going to be more than Microsoft is willing to give for like a day and date release in Game Pass. So I'm very curious to see if, maybe that takes into effect, because I think Capcom's guilty of that. Part of me thinks that, some of these games, not all of them, because there's obviously some backwards compatibility issues that's resulting in some of these games not coming to Xbox. But part of me does feel like these developers and these publishers know if they hold out for a certain amount of time, when it's time for the game to come to the Xbox platform, it's going to be received with a big bag up front. That's just my opinion on the matter. I don't know anything. I don't, but I do think that to a degree there is some of that going on. All right, so let's talk about Japan. Now, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Japan area. You guys know that I cap for all these games, all the JRPGs. I'm even on record saying I wish that Activision was Sega. I wish that they bought Sega instead of Activision. And that's just because selfish reasons, man. I particularly enjoy JRPGs more than I enjoy these other games that's coming out. Now, there has been a substantial pickup on Western RPGs, which is good. I really enjoy RPGs in general, but I always do lean a little bit more towards JRPGs. And when I saw Xbox going more and more focused when it comes to Japan, making sure that they have good relationships with a lot of the publishers in Japan, I felt like we were finally getting to a point where we're going to see more and more Square Enix games on the platform. And now I'm not so sure. Now, look, is Square Enix going to bring their games over? Yes. But is that a realistic business model going forward when you're raising prices in Japan on the console series? Part of me does feel like, in terms of consoles, this generation might be a wash. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just like, Japan is a very beloved gaming culture, and like, to me, you raising the prices, which is going to lead to those consoles selling less over there. I don't feel like this was the move. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's, the exchange in currency. There's so many reasons. But when I'm sitting here looking at them not going to TGS, them cutting Tango Game Studios out of their portfolio, now they're raising the prices of the Xbox Series consoles. I look at that and I get saddened, man, because it's like they're going the opposite way to me. I wanted them to put more effort into this, not less. And it's not necessarily saying that that's less effort. To me, that's just giving the wrong impression to a Japanese audience, that we're getting rid of the studios in your native land. We are raising the prices, and we're not going to any of the events in your native land. Why would the culture over there accept you when you've done such a good job the past couple years to get on their good side? But that's just my opinion on that. Another big thing that was very disappointing. Now, it didn't really bother me as much because I've not really ever been a Game Informer fan, but Game Informer shut down. And I would say the part that made it the worst is how they handled the shutdown. Game Informer essentially said it doesn't matter what you've done. You're not getting informed that your jobs are lost. Apparently, some of them were actually on business trips. Imagine finding out you're being laid off on a business trip. That's insane. That's insane. They actually had the majority of next month's Game Informer on deck. So the majority of the company didn't know they were getting shut down, which I find issues with in general. And on top of that, they nuked the whole website. And it looks like they did Twitter too. Look, man, developers, media, don't matter who you are. Unless you're an influencer or a streamer. You kind of like, if you fail, that's on you in a lot of scenarios. But when you're like answering to a higher not a deity, like I'm trying to act like I'm bringing religion into this, like just a bigger company that's paying your bills, that you're doing work for, I do feel like these companies, they don't respect their employees. They see them as numbers, and that's okay to a degree. But at the same time, we got to hold them more accountable. I see people saying they're going to boycott GameStop. GameStop's been boycotted. You know, they're in a field that is not necessarily the easiest to continue to grow in. So Game Informer's gone. I think their Twitter's been nuked. Their website's been nuked. Imagine being a writer for Game Informer for years, and now all your work is gone. Like that's the highest of disrespect. That they just nuked the whole website. Didn't matter what you did. All your work is gone. And I think repercussions need to happen to that. That's just me though. But man, put in the comment section below what you guys feel about this news, man. You know, it's been a chaotic weekend, and I'm sure as we get closer to Gamescom, it's going to get more and more chaotic. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content over here. We're getting back into it, boys. And some girls, like 2 or 3 that watch my channel. And definitely, you know, follow me on Twitter at LordAddictILP. I do stream over there on gaming or Addict Arena. It's my streaming platform on YouTube where I just stream games, talk about current events, do a lot of community stuff over there. So definitely go check that out, all in the description below. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.